You've heard the saying, you get what you pay for. Well, in this video, I want to find out if that's actually true. I'm checking out 6 of the top clothing brands that the internet can't stop talking about, and I'll be ranking them to see if they're actually worth it. And this is going to be a completely honest review. No sponsors. We'll go from top tier for totally worth it and would buy, all the way down to bottom tier for brands you should avoid. And I might make some brands mad. So, to get an accurate ranking, we're going to the mall.
Okay, let's start with H&M.
A fast fashion giant you can pretty much find anywhere, H&M has been a go-to for trendy pieces at sometimes suspiciously low prices. This store was huge. It was on multiple levels and it was really overwhelming. But after finally finding the women's section, I started to check out some pieces.
So this is cute for summer. It caught my eye, but I want to see what it is made of. 99% recycled polyester, 1% elastane. You're going to be sweating in this. As cute as it is, I would pass on this.
Okay, so I should probably tell you how I'm going to be ranking things. First is fabric, because it's not just the look of the clothes that should get you to buy it. When I see something that's cute, I'm going to be checking the tags to see if it's made of synthetics like polyester or acrylic, or if it's got natural fibers that will actually feel good on the skin. Next is construction. Does it feel cheap, look cheap, or is it actually well made? I'll be looking for things like loose threads and buttons, uneven stitching, and simply if it just feels like it's going to stand up to general wear and tear or washing. This, I gotta say, is the benefit of shopping in person versus online, because you can actually take the time to inspect the clothing more closely. Then we have fit. When it comes to shopping for clothes, fit is so important. Fit can be make or break for even the best pieces of clothing, so this step is critical. So when a piece catches my eye, I'm gonna be trying them on. And finally, price. At the end of the day, do I feel like I'm getting my money's worth? But to get to top tier, the brands need to consistently fit well, look good, the construction needs to be solid, and the price needs to feel fair for what it is. I want to feel confident enough with the piece that I could see myself wearing it over and over, and it would make me think to shop from that brand again. So let's see how H&M did. So since that vest was a flop, I wanted to see how well H&M did their basics. So I went looking for a classic white tee, which turned out being harder than I thought, because every single one seemed to be covered in makeup and there were all kinds of different styles mixed in together on one rack. So it wasn't easy. And then I wanted to find some jeans.
Just came to some denim and I am very sad about these. So these are made of 70% Tencel lyocell and 30% recycled cotton. So they're going to be breathable, but these feel so thin and flimsy. They don't feel like a real substantial denim jean at all. They just feel really cheap. Like you can get a vintage pair of Levi's for probably the same price as these, $60.
On first impression, these basics weren't looking too promising, but I had to give them a fair chance, so let's go try them on. So this t-shirt is made of 100% cotton, where it said that 20% of that cotton was recycled, which I thought was cool, so points for that. But this tee basically felt like I was wearing a big potato sack. Despite it being a size small, it basically had no shape or structure to it. And a tip if you're shopping for t-shirts, if you want to see if your neckline will warp or not, you can gently pull on the collar to see if it will bounce back. If it does hold its shape, that's a really good sign. But this one turned to bacon almost immediately. For $14.99, the price was fine, but I would actually never buy this t-shirt because brand new, there were already so many red flags, so it's a pass for me.
So these are the jeans. They look good. I like the silhouette, but these just feel so thin. I feel like I could split them after a couple of wears. Actually, in here, there was an inner stitch that looked like it was already coming apart. Not great, not great.
And now I know that was a flop. We're not starting off very strong, but before we get deeper into the rankings, I want you to keep a few things in mind. Just because a brand gets into top tier or even bottom tier in this video doesn't always mean that it's going to be that way across the entire brand. Some brands can do some pieces really well, but they can majorly flop on others. So in addition to my rankings, I'll be sharing my #1 brand for these standout categories: best basics overall, best modern statements, and most unexpected. So based on that experience from H&M, I'm gonna have to give it an avoid.
All right, underwhelmed as I thought we would be. Let's go to Uniqlo.
You won't find any shortage of people on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube raving about Uniqlo pieces. But at first glance, Uniqlo doesn't really look like anything special. The store experience feels like going into any other generic mall retailer, so it's not really an elevated experience by any means. But it's only when you start to take a closer look at the clothing that they really do start to stand out. So let's start with the viral Uniqlo U crewneck tee.
This t-shirt is always 10 out of 10. I size it to a medium because it is a bit of a slim fit, but
I can really see why this t-shirt is so popular. It's 100% cotton. It has a binded collar, so it's not going to warp after one wash. It's not see-through at all. The fabric feels really substantial actually, and it just feels solid. So a pretty good start for Uniqlo. But they don't just do basics. I actually found a nice mix of more trendy shapes and silhouettes, like these barrel trousers that actually looked so good on. For construction, it was solid, but for fabric, it did lose a little bit of points because it was a blend of a bunch of things: polyester, cotton, and spandex, which Uniqlo says makes them non-clingy, stretchy, and fast drying. So there seems to be a technical reason for this, but I still prefer to have majority natural fibers in general. But the pants did have a great shape, a great structure, and awesome details, so I'm gonna give them a 7 out of 10. Now for this skirt. It was a summer staple, which is why I chose it, and it looked pretty classic, but also on trend for now. It was made of 100% cotton, which looked promising, but on closer inspection, this liner is made of 100% polyester, which really doesn't make sense for a summer skirt. The part that's closest to your skin is the plastic part, so you are gonna roast in this. And this skirt did need a liner because it was so thin and sheer otherwise. I don't know about the other colors, but for the white, not so much. So I'm gonna give this skirt a 4 out of 10. But after that flop, Uniqlo quickly redeemed themselves through this button down. It was not see-through at all, it had solid stitching, and it was slightly cropped and boxy, so it did feel like a modern take on a classic. One thing that felt like a downside with this shirt was that it was a cotton rayon blend. This will make it wrinkle less, but I think they could have done this shirt in 100% cotton, so that did lose some points for me. But if I didn't have a lot of cotton shirts already, for $40, I would have considered buying this. So all in all with Uniqlo, I found that the pieces were good, the prices were good. I do think you're actually getting a solid product for the money, whether you're buying more trendy pieces or your basics. So I'm gonna put them in the would buy category.
there's something about trying on the clothes in person that you just don't get when you shop online. And that's where you start to see like the quality, the imperfections, the pros, the cons. So I think it's always good to go shopping in person if you can handle the crowds, that is, and as long as you're well fed. Let's go into Aritzia.
This Canadian heritage brand is a fan favorite, where I think they're most well known for stylish but minimal pieces. Right away, I spotted pieces that I liked.
It's cute for summer.
The styles were great, and they had a lot of really cute mixes of seasonal pieces and more classic basics. I was actually greeted right when I walked in the door, and the associate helped me pick a lot of pieces that I did end up trying on. So those are the ones I'm going to be testing. As I was going through some of their more viral pieces, like the effortless pants, I did start to notice some problems though. Everything was synthetic, and I felt like I really had to dig to find those natural fibers.
We found some linen.
I did end up finding these 100% cotton pants, but there was one problem.
These are $98.
Oh, and I forgot another thing. There's no mirrors in the change rooms. So trying on clothes here is not for the faint of heart. So not exactly the best start, but let's try on this cutie outfit that the associate brought for me. She thought I would like this linen halter top, which I did think was really cute. It was made of a linen, so it makes sense for the summer, but the fit across the chest wasn't really working, so these were a pass. She also gave me these 100% lyocell drawstring pants that I actually really liked. Lyocell is a semi-synthetic fiber that's made of cellulose, so it's actually a decent summer fabric because it is lightweight, airy, and breathable on the skin, so I was okay with that. They were super soft, but they did feel a bit sheer and thin, so for $148, I decided to pass. I haven't shopped in person in Aritzia in a while, and I'm seeing a big issue here. They aren't exactly what I'd call cheap. Just take a look at this jacket. This is something that the associate brought for me, and she was spot on with my aesthetic. It looked so cute on, and it did feel well made. It was lined, the buttons looked good, and so did the stitching, but there were two glaring problems. It was made of 100% synthetic fibers, and they wanted $200 for it. And this was happening a lot. The viral effortless pants, polyester. The blazers to match, polyester. The satin slip dresses, polyester. There were some saving graces, like I ended up trying on these tailored shorts, which were made of linen and lyocell. This blend did make sense to me because they would stay breathable in the heat, but the mix-in of lyocell means they wouldn't wrinkle as much, so that's fine. They had a lot of great details like this branded hook and eye, the inner lining, the buttons and the stitching were nice and clean, but at the end of the day, the fit wasn't that flattering on me personally, so I passed. This cropped trench though, I loved. It was made of 100% cotton, lined with 100% Cupro, so it's breathable, and it says it's water repellent, which is a bonus. It makes sense. It felt structured, cool, and modern, but it did feel a touch on the pricey side at $250. But if it went on sale, I would totally buy this. So as you can see, Aritzia is kind of a mixed bag for me. They do have a great mix of classic staples and trendier items, but if you're looking for those workhorse basics, especially in natural fibers like your blazers and your trousers, you might want to skip. I found myself saying a lot like, I would get this if it was 100% wool or 100% cotton, or I'd get this if it were on sale. So for those reasons, I'm going to put Aritzia in the would buy sometimes category. You just really have to look closer and get past at how cute the clothes are before you buy to make sure that you're getting something that actually makes sense for what it is. As for best modern pieces though, I think Aritzia is winning so far. So for now, I'm going to put a question mark there for that category. Now, before we get into our top level contenders, I want to visit a store that I've heard so much about, but I've never actually been to.
Okay, going into Abercrombie. Oh, it's dark in here. I've heard about this, the sexy ambiance of Abercrombie. This is cute, but it looks kind of right away. I guess they're very well known for their jeans, so we should probably get some jeans.
For a brand being famous for their denim, they were kind of actually hard to find. But after doing a bit of digging, I ended up grabbing these curvy barrel jeans to try on. Then I picked a few seasonal pieces that caught my eye.
This dress is $150. Okay, we'll try it on. I'll figure out what it's made out of, but it feels not natural.
The one thing I noticed about this store is that it's kind of confused. When I was looking for basics, which I thought would be pretty easy to do here, I could only find these tank top dresses and these summer linen pants. The rest was all over the place. Like, I'm not sure if you go to Abercrombie if you want your basics or your jeans or your summer dresses or your wedding dresses, or if you want camo pants and a sports jersey to match. Like, it just seemed all over the place without really having a real brand identity. So keeping that in mind, let's go try some things on.
This is the best fitting room out of all the stores. I don't know about the clothes, but the fitting room, 10 out of 10. It even has like lighting options.
Starting with the jeans, I actually really did like them, but they were about a size too big. Aside from the sizing issue, which was a me problem, they did feel a bit flimsy and thin. Checking the tags again, I don't know why so many brands are doing this. They were a mix of cotton and lyocell.
And it feels like that.
Which I personally don't love in my denim. Now, don't get me wrong, because this fabric mix does make a bit more sense when you're talking summer denim, but I still prefer my jeans to be 100% cotton. For $98, I would pass on these, especially at full price. Then I tried this dress. No, it was bad. In addition to looking pretty bad on me, it was another blend bomb. The body was made of viscose and nylon, but the lining, 98% polyester. So if you wore this to a summer wedding, you are gonna melt. I did think the outside of this dress looked pretty neat and tidy, but looking on the inside, it was just a big mess. So for $150, this dress was a hard pass. At least it had pockets though. Then I tried on these linen pants, which were also a blend. They were just okay. They were kind of itchy. So overall, this store just feels really expensive for what you're getting. And I'm still not really sure what to think of Abercrombie. Like, when I think of Uniqlo, I think of really good basics. Or when I think Levi's, I think denim. Abercrombie, I don't know. But because I kind of liked the jeans, I'm going to give Abercrombie a meh ranking. And just so you know, they are definitely not going to be ranked under best basics because I could barely find any. So let's keep going.
What store did you like the best?
I mean, soft spot for Uniqlo, I guess.
All right, let's get something to eat.
I just had tacos.
You know what? Shopping and going to the mall does take a lot out of a person. So I decided to check out a few more stores the next day. So let's knock out another popular one, Mango.
I feel like if you want something that's fairly on trend, this is probably where you go. I'm gonna go for some classic basics. Is orange my color? No, I already knew that. I had a color analysis. Since it's summer, I'm looking for things like linen pants, drawstring pants, and they have these like more neutrally linen-y ones. So I'm gonna try them on. These feel a little thin and scratchy, but we'll see. Just your basic linen button down for summer, so we'll try that. And let's try some jeans. Bonus points for a very spacious change room with lots of places to hang your stuff. I do appreciate that about a store.
Okay, so this linen shirt was just not it. Yes, it was 100% linen, so points for that, but it was also just super thin, flimsy, shapeless, and kind of itchy. All in all, it was just so underwhelming, and for $45, I can tell you I would not buy this. And since I'm testing basics at every store, I decided to try on this tank top. For $25.99, you get a 95% cotton, 5% elastane tank, which is pretty standard, and I got it in a size small. But there was just one problem.
This is see-through even with a nude bra.
Then I tried the jeans. They were on the trendier side with a wide leg and the front pleats, and I definitely grabbed one size too big. But aside from that, these were just bad. Another cotton tencel blend. What's with this?
There is a YKK zipper, so that's a bonus. $75.99 for these.
They were super soft and lightweight, but they also felt so thin that I questioned on whether or not I would actually get through a day wearing them. And they simply just had no structure at all, which is not what I'm looking for in my jeans. And finally, these drawstring pants. Pulling them off the rack, I thought these were linen, but then I checked the tags. You got it, folks, it's another mega blend. 70% viscose, 18% polyamide, 11% polyester, 1% elastane. So they looked cute on the hanger, but in practice and in summer, these are not really going to be it. And then with a quick inspection of the inside, it just looked a mess. So for $65.99, these are going to be a no for me.
They have like cute stuff, but when you look closer up, it's just not really that great. Some hits in terms of materials, but the biggest miss for me was just how thin everything is. It's like they're trying, but they're really just cutting corners by really thinning everything out. So even if you can get like, you know, a cotton dress, a cotton t-shirt, it just doesn't feel like it's gonna last you. So that one was a miss for me. I'm never gonna get over vlogging in public. It's just... It's 2025, but I still feel so self-conscious and people are staring at me, but what are you gonna do? Let's go to COS.
COS is a bit more on the expensive side of things, but they are really well known for their minimalist but modern designs and their classics. They are under the umbrella of H&M, so you're still gonna get a lot of trendier pieces, but they are at a much higher price point, so let's go see if the quality matches. Starting with this basic rib tank, I thought it was a hit. For $40, it's made of 97% organic cotton, and this is the first time I saw anything marked as organic in any of the stores so far. I loved the heavy-duty collar that had a lot of stretch to it, and bonus, it didn't turn to bacon after one pull, so I feel like this will actually stand up against washing. It also wasn't sheer at all. So for a basic, this felt pretty solid. Next, I tried this dress. I thought it was gorgeous. It was elevated, minimalist, I was obsessed. It also had some really nice finishes around the collar and arms, and the inside looked pretty clean to me. But after taking a closer look on it, two things made me pass. One being the fabric composition. It was 65% viscose and 35% polyamide. This combo probably did contribute to the drape and the shape of the dress, but I just tried to avoid synthetics in the summer as much as possible, so it lost some points there for me. And then the weave of the fabric itself also got me a little worried. It just looked like it would snag pretty easily, so I just didn't think this dress would end up looking as good after a lot of wears. So as much as I liked it, for $180, this one was a pass for me. Until we got to this skirt. This one actually really impressed me. It had gorgeous structure and overall so many nice details and beautiful finishings on the inside and the outside. And guys, it finally made sense for the summer. It was made of 100% cotton and lined with 100% cotton. Yay! And bonus, it wasn't see-through or heavy at all. If I was a skirt girly, I would have totally bought this. And back to basics, this boxy tee I am always a fan of. It's one of my favorites, so I decided to try on a fresh one for you. It's also made of 100% organic cotton, and I've owned multiples of this t-shirt, so I can vouch that they hold up. To me, it's just a bit more of an elevated take on a plain white tee, which is why I love it.
All right, so just left cost, some hits, some misses. I ended up getting some stuff. It looked good. I tried it on. I felt like the quality was good. So would definitely buy. I really liked that white skirt. I am not a skirt person, but that one felt really nice. It was beautifully structured. It made total sense. And fun fact, I'm wearing black underwear today and you couldn't see through it. So that's a bonus.
But if I had to personally just pick one store to shop from out of all the ones I visited today, it would be them. They had a lot of modern statement pieces, a lot of minimalist basics, and natural fibers were not hard to find. They really did just feel more premium and luxe for the price. So for those reasons, I'm actually moving costs from top tier would buy to top tier plus. And I'm going to be knocking out Aritzia and naming costs my favorite for more modern statement pieces. So whether you're looking to build out basics in your closet or find a standout piece, COS really does have it all. And after shopping at all of these stores, for most underrated, I'm gonna give it to Uniqlo actually. I was pretty surprised not only by their basics, but the range of other things they offered. I don't always think to visit Uniqlo when I'm out shopping, but now I'm gonna keep them on the list every time I go. And after all that for best basics, well, guess what? I'm giving it to Uniqlo too. COS was definitely another contender here for me, but if you don't have a bigger budget to spend on clothes, then you're still gonna get a really good product for a lower price at Uniqlo. My only downside is that because Uniqlo is so popular, sometimes you can kind of clock where it's from right away, but in the grand scheme of things, that's really a minor issue, and maybe we can save that for another video. And as the worst of the worst, I'm actually gonna demote Mango from avoid to the worst. Not because they don't have their place when it comes to trendier pieces at a more accessible price point, but none of the pieces that I tried at least felt like they were made to last. They were so thin and they were expensive for what they were. So what do you think? Do you agree with the list? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments and let me know what brands I should test next. And if you want to see who makes the best white t-shirt from $5 all the way to $500, you can watch this video next. Thanks for watching. Bye.